Good morning and welcome to Women's Hour. This morning, we're going to be talking about boundary management. Boundary management. But before we go on, I like to look at the meaning of words, because once you understand the meaning of the word, then you better understand how it is being used, in what area it is being used, and how you can then use it even better. So let's start with the word boundary. What does boundary mean? Boundary is anything that helps us to set a limit. Now, you can have a boundary. Let's start with money. You can have a boundary on a limit on your credit card. Maybe you're that sort of spender and you just think, I think I need to just, temper things down a bit. You might have a boundary on your credit card limit, where if you're a driver, there are roads you go on, there is a speed limit. Why? Because they do not want you to exceed whatever the speed limit on that road is, for whatever the reason may be. If you're driving on, maybe just a normal road, maybe it's 30, maybe some streets, maybe 20. If you're on the motorway, maybe 70. And when you exceed that, you see that there are consequences. We also have maybe, do not enter signs. That means there's a boundary. You can go up to this point, but from this point, please do not enter. That's a boundary that has been set. So it's simply setting a limit, almost like drawing a line. Yeah, drawing a line to say, you can come up to this point, but beyond this point, please do not enter or do not trespass. Do not come, into my own space. Okay. So let's look at management. Now that we've talked about boundary, let's look at management. Management is just dealing with or controlling things or people. So you look at the management of people, you look at the management of things. So when we bring them together, boundary management, it's dealing with setting the limits, drawing that line. So boundary management has to do with the ways that individuals create, maintain, or change boundaries. So I could have set a limit. So if we go back to maybe my credit card, maybe my limit on it is £1,000, and God has now blessed me, I can increase my limit, not so that I am reckless with it, but rather I have that space. I have a bit more that I can, play with. So please, let's bear that in mind. So it helps us to create, maintain, or change boundaries in order to effectively navigate the world around us, including our work and our life roles. So you might, in your workplace, you might think, I need to set boundaries with this work colleague. I need to set boundaries with this person. Also at home, those of you that have children, you sometimes say to the children, don't pass this boundary. You've crossed this boundary. Maybe your bedtime was 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. You have now crossed. Now we're on 8:30, we're on 9. You have crossed the boundary. So boundary, or setting limits or drawing the line is something that we say quite often. The boundary is, in another way I can put it, is a line of respect. Please don't cross this boundary. In other words, don't do what I haven't told you to do, or don't cross wherever it is that I have told you not to cross. So it's a line of respect. Boundaries help us determine what is acceptable and what is not in any relationship we find ourselves. What is acceptable in this relationship, or what is not acceptable in a relationship, whether that be with your friends, your neighbor, your work colleagues, family members, whoever you're relating with. You can set boundaries. Remember, they help you determine what is acceptable. Say, for example, you're, in a workplace and someone is, cracking jokes that are not funny. That person has crossed their boundary, because you are telling to the person, now, I don't like these jokes, or maybe someone uses a word that you're not comfortable with. That person is crossing the boundary. So you need to let the person know that, no, I don't like it when you talk like this, or I don't like it when you do certain things like this. That is you drawing the line, that line of respect. So please remember that. Boundaries are put in place to help safeguard our own well-being. They help us to build trust. They help us to make sure we are safe. They help us to make sure that we are comfortable. They help us to make sure that respect, that word respect, is in the relationship. So you think about it. Have you set boundaries? Are you within the boundaries you have set for people? How are you with the boundaries that other people have set? Are you, overshooting on that boundary, on that line? No, we shouldn't. Unhealthy boundaries can lead to controlling behavior and very quickly turn to abuse. So if you're looking at it, maybe in fact, in any relationship, unhealthy boundaries can lead to controlling behavior. You will do what I've told you to do, almost like you haven't got a choice. You can't think you will do this. Everybody has limits, and respecting those limits is what separates a healthy relationship from an unhealthy one. I'll say that again. Everyone has limits, and respecting those limits is what separates a healthy relationship from an unhealthy one. Let's think about it. Let's look at some examples of unhealthy boundaries that maybe people are going through, but let's explore unhealthy boundaries. Not being able to say no when something is not going your way. Maybe somebody has said something and you know that it doesn't sit well with you. You're so uncomfortable, but you just cannot say no. That's not a healthy boundary. That's an unhealthy boundary. So not being able to say no when you want to, or accepting when other people say no, because it's a two-way street. I can set boundaries, but I also have to respect that other people have boundaries that they have set. So me not able to say no and me also not able to accept the no that somebody else has said is an unhealthy boundary. Believing that you're solely responsible for other people's happiness and comfort, that's a boundary, and it's an unhealthy one. I am not responsible for your happiness or your comfort. Don't put that position upon yourself, and don't think, you know what, in this house, I am the only one that can make you happy, and if I don't make you happy, that's it. That's crossing the line. Where is that line of respect? Remember that we said that boundary management helps us to draw. Exhibiting controlling behavior is an unhealthy boundary. Controlling behavior. Come here, do what I've told you to do, and if you don't do it, there are going to be consequences. Remember what I said, it can lead to abuse. So we've got to make sure that, one, we have set our own healthy boundaries, but also on the other hand, we're making sure that we are within the boundaries that has been set by other people so that we're not crossing that line of respect. So let's now look at healthy boundaries that we can set. Saying no, we've come back to that word again, that word no. Saying no when a situation makes you uncomfortable. I am not happy to have this conversation with you. I'm not happy to do whatever it is. Can you say no? You know, as they say, can you put your foot down? Not in a nasty way, in a nice way. You're setting the boundary because you know that if you do not draw this line, it's going to have an effect on you. So you really don't want to do that. So you're able to say no when a situation makes you uncomfortable. How about maintaining your relationship with your friends and family? Maintaining that good relationship is a healthy boundary. Somebody knows not to call your phone, by midnight. That's a boundary. You probably know that, okay, maybe after 10 o'clock, I can't call this person. But you keep calling this person at 1 a.m. How is that healthy boundary? No, that's not healthy boundary. But you being able to maintain your relationship, good relationship with your friends and your family is a healthy boundary. Refusing to take the blame for something that isn't your fault is a healthy boundary. Let's discuss. How is this? Where have I gone wrong? Where have you gone wrong? Let's bring it to the table. Let's put the cards on the table. Don't accept the blame for something that is not your fault. Okay? So if you accept it, then that's that controlling behavior that we were talking about, and that is unhealthy boundary. Standing up for your beliefs, your value systems, allowing yourself to experience your emotions without shame or guilt. That is a healthy boundary. If you're a soft person, if you're an emotional person, why should someone take advantage of you? Because that is who you are. No, that is not healthy. But you being able to stand up for your beliefs, stand up for your value systems, stand up for what you know is right and what you know is true is a healthy boundary. Let's look at why people struggle with unhealthy boundaries. Because, maybe you're here and you're struggling with unhealthy boundaries. You might not even know that you're outstepping the line. So let's kind of, just bring this to your attention. wanting to be in control to the level of manipulation. These are some of the reasons why people struggle with unhealthy boundaries, because they want to manipulate. They don't even know they're manipulating people because they just want to be in control. What about that fear of rejection? If I don't do what this friend or this family member has told me to do, how am I going to, what is going to happen? Then all these questions begin to run in the background of your brain, wanting that, that fear of rejection, probably based on a past experience. Maybe you're in a relationship now, and the relationship has got no boundary, no healthy boundary. And you're thinking, if I do certain things, am I not going to find myself where I was last time? No, you need to be able, you don't need to struggle with unhealthy boundaries. You need to be able to set the boundary right. We're going to come to some of those. What about low self-esteem? A lot of this you can see stems from low self-esteem. Once someone suffers from low self-esteem, then everything goes. The boundary, there is no boundary. Everything goes. People talk to you anyhow. People take advantage of you, all because there is no boundary. And like I said before, past experience, that's a major one. You need to set yourself free from the past. The past is in the past. How am I going to move on from now henceforth? How am I going to set healthy boundaries from now henceforth? Very important. So let's look at how to set healthy boundaries. Setting healthy boundaries requires good communication. Good communication. You need to have good communication skills so that you can convey your assertiveness and clarity. Don't just mumble jumble things and say, well, after all, I have said it. No, you haven't said it properly. Good communication skills is very, very important in setting healthy boundaries. Assertiveness involves expressing your feelings openly and respectfully. I'm not happy with this. Can we talk about it? You're being open, but you're also being respectful. Remember what I always say. It is not what you say sometimes. It is how you say it. It is how you say it. Articulate your feelings clearly. Articulate your feelings clearly. Let whoever it is that you're, talking to about these healthy boundaries, let them understand you. Let them know how you feel. Learn to say no. No is a word that, a lot of us don't like to use. But if it's not towards your own healthy boundary, learn to say no. No, I'm not going to accept that from you. It's not, drawing the line is not just with you and someone that is younger, because sometimes we get that also wrong. It's not just you drawing the line, but remember, these things have got to be done respectfully. You must be able to draw the line. You must be able to keep a distance between you and the person or people that make you feel uncomfortable. So maybe people make you feel uncomfortable, keep a distance. Keep a distance. If I know coming to your house, you're just going to rubbish me, you're just going to talk down at me, you're just going to do things that I know are not healthy for me, I'm going to keep a distance. If I know picking up your call is going to do all these things that I've just said, I'm not going to pick up the call. But I must also be able to let you know, if it's something you have to go and pray about, please go ahead and pray about it. But don't sit there suffering in silence. Seek professional help. Seek professional help. If it comes to that, please go ahead and seek professional help. But you must be able to draw that line, that healthy line, that line of respect. You must be able to draw it with whoever is involved in the matter. Now, if unhealthy boundaries are not set, if healthy boundaries, not unhealthy ones, I want to talk about unhealthy things. So if healthy boundaries are not set, let me tell you a few things that would happen if healthy boundaries are not set. Frustration. Because you're thinking, I can't get myself across and it's just frustrating me. Frustration, bitterness, I'm not saying this in any order, so it's not like the frustration is the list of them and then, I'm still going to some higher grounds with negative. No, 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 no. It's just a list. So frustration, bitterness. The relationship can become toxic. Disappointment, anxiety, annoyance. You're just angry. Confusion, chaos, depression, abusive behavior, resentment. All these are things that can happen if the boundary is not healthy. So it's so important for us to make sure that we set healthy boundaries. When you have clear boundaries, when your boundaries are healthy, you have peace. You have peace. You make better decisions. Yes. And you're generally more content. Why? Because there's nothing disturbing you. There's really nothing disturbing you. And it won't be right for me to go through all this and not tell you to take it to the Lord in prayer. Very important. Taking it to the Lord in prayer is very important. You may be thinking, we're just talking about boundaries. Yes. What's wrong in taking it to God in prayer? God, I don't like the way this person talks to me. God, I don't like the way this thing is going. I just pray that you just make this relationship smooth. I just pray that you open the eyes of the other person so that the person understands that they're hurting me. Yeah. These are the things you can tell God as well. So, boundary management is not just about time management. It could be. There's a part of time management in your boundary management. So you look at it, maybe someone has been on the phone with you for hours and hours and hours, and they're just telling you things that don't benefit you. They're wasting your time. So can you see how time management comes into it? Or you've gone to someone's house, they're not, paying attention to you. You're just there wasting your time. How good are you at managing your time? So these are questions that I want you to think about. How good are you at managing your own time? Have you managed your own time well enough to be able to put it within your healthy boundary? Because you could also go on the flip and say, I don't have time for anybody. That's unhealthy. So you must be able to have very good time management. But how good are you at managing your own time? How effective are you with boundary management? How effective are you with boundary management? Do you know how to set healthy boundaries? Are your boundaries clear, or have they muddled up? If they're muddled up, they will lead to chaos. They will lead to confusion. Are you generally happy with your choices? Are you generally happy with the choices that you're making? With this boundary, are you happy with the choices that you're making? Or do you need to maybe reevaluate and have a look and see, okay, maybe I've not been very fair in this area. Maybe I can allow a bit more. How are you generally with the choices you make? Are you enjoying your choices? Or are you, I can't say no, so I'm stuck. I'm not enjoying it, but what can I do? Are you enjoying your choices? Are there areas that you need to make drastic changes in order to have improvements in your boundary management? Are there areas you need to improve? Because we can go through all this, but at the end of the day, you have yourself to ask questions. Am I good at setting healthy boundaries? Am I good at having a balance? Am I good at managing my time? Am I good at the choices I have made, or I am making, or I am about to make? Am I happy with them? So all these are questions that you need to ask yourself. And then as we round up, I'm going to be reading the scripture to us, and I'm reading from Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. And I'm reading from the Passion Translation. It says, and I read, "So above all, guard the affections of your heart, so that there will be no resentment, there will be no frustration, there will be no toxic relationship, there will be no abusive behavior. There'll be no anger. There'll be no annoyance. There'll be no bitterness. Above all, guard the affections of your heart, for they affect all that you are. So whether you like it or not, if you do not set healthy boundaries, it is going to affect you. So why are we saying all this that we're saying today is so that it doesn't affect you negatively. It carries on. Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being. You can laugh about it and say, I'm fine, I'm fine. But inside of you, are you really fine? Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being, for from there flows the wellspring of life. Out of you flows the issues of life. Another translation says, out of your belly flows the issues of life. So I'm going to read that Proverbs 4:23 from the Passion Translation to us again. So above all, guard the affections of your heart, for they affect all that you are. Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being, for from there flows the wellspring of life. And I pray that as you go about having healthy boundaries in whatever relationships, wherever you find yourself, I pray that God makes it easy for you. When you have to have those conversations, I pray that God puts the right words in your mouth and you say exactly what you need to say that would minister to the other person. Think about it. You might actually be helping somebody because they might not know. So can you say it respectfully? Can you help to draw that line of respect for yourself and for the other person? And I pray that as you go about having healthy boundaries, I pray that you will guard the affections of your heart because they do affect all that you are. So pay good attention to the boundaries that you have set, you're going to set, or you're already setting in the name of Jesus. Amen.